Hey everybody. So in this lesson, we're going to be doing video notes about examples of computers. So your options right now are either to fill out guided notes on paper or on the Google Doc. So you can pause here and figure out whether you want to have a pencil and paper out in front of you with the video notes, or if you want to pull up the Google Doc by going to Canvas and finding the link for this assignment called Guided Notes, a Computer. Pause here. All right, our definition, let's go right into our definition of a computer. For our class, we are going to be defining a computer as a device that accepts data as input, stores that data, processes it in some way to automatically produce an output. So I want you to think input, output, storage, and processing when you're thinking about our definition. Now, a computer is not just the Chromebook that's in front of you. It's not just a desktop computer you might have at home or some fancy laptop. A computer in this class and in general, I want you to think about it could also be the cell phone you carry around in your pocket, the microwave down the hall that we all use to heat up our noodles at lunch, or it could be a car radio. These are all examples, and there are hundreds of other examples that we can fit into that definition of input, output, storage, and processing that all computers have in common. All right, so we're going to dive into that first aspect of a computer, the input. Wherever you see an underline and highlighted word, that is going to be something you fill out on the guided notes. So you already should have filled out back here for the definition, you already should have filled out the input, stores, processes, and output. All right, back on input. We're going to think of input as the directions or commands that we give to a computer. So it could be typing a key. It's clicking the mouse. Those are all commands that we tell the computer, hey, I want you to put L on my screen. When I type L, I want you to open up this Google Chrome when I double tap Google Chrome with the mouse. On your cell phone, it could be holding down the side button to talk to Siri or talk to whoever. If you have an Android, talk to your Google phone. Or it could be giving that voice memo to Siri. That's all input that goes into your phone. The second aspect is storage. Think of storage as the computer remembering what has been input. You know your computer remembers something when you, if you're typing something and then delete it accidentally, if you hit Control Z, or if you go to edit and undo, the computer remembers what you had typed. After you, also on Google Docs, your computer has storage because it's able to save work. Right? So you can save images on there. Your Google Drive has storage for when you're trying to save your documents. You can, same thing with downloading files. If you're downloading music, it saves to your hard drive on computer. That all happens because your computer has storage. All right, now processing is the third way that we know something is a computer. Processing is everything that happens between you doing something to your computer and then it doing what you asked. Okay? So here's an example. If I hit send on a text message, the processing is everything that happens for a computer to make it possible for that text to then get delivered. So it knows what it needs to do when I hit send and to deliver it to whoever I want it to get to. The last thing is output. Your output is the result a computer produces after it receives a certain input. So an example could be the letter appears on a screen after I've pressed it. Or when I try and talk to Siri, it makes that little noise. So that's the that is the output of me holding down the button too long. Or an output could be Siri also appearing on my screen and taking over. Those are all separate examples of output. Those are not just the only ones. There are many other that we're going to explore in the practice. All right, but before we get into that practice, let's just take your Chromebook as an example. And for each of these definitions, we're going to use something that's a result of the input. Okay. So say I hit enter. So if I hit enter, that is the input. Okay. The processing is that, or when I hit enter and I'm searching on Google, the output is that it runs the search. Okay. The storage is that I know if I hit back, it will take me back one screen. Okay. And the processing is that back, and remember this is about when I hit enter and I'm searching on Google. The processing is that when I, or it knows to then run my search. Okay. So that whole example here, no, I'm not trying to. Let's get back to just 1 minute. All right, so a quick example of actually doing that. If here I'm on Google and I type in computers, so the input is when I hit search, the processing is it knows to then go ahead and run that search. If I hit back, it stored the fact that I want to be back on this Google web page. Okay. With the input of hitting enter, it stored when I knew I could go back. It processed it that I needed to run the search, and then the output was it actually came up with that new web page. All right, so next we're going to dive into our practice. Make sure you have your video notes either completed to put in your binder or that they are complete on the Google Doc.